What's down, Malphus? It's your boy Zell May, and of course, I'm here with.
That's classic Ruby, y'all. In the house. In the house. You know what? Listen, I am sick for real. Okay, I might have been putting on a little bit. I am sick though. But guys, I feel like since I'm sick, it's like kismet. Okay, it's kismet that my voice is terrible on today of all days. What day would that be? Will it be the eve of a particular birthday? And so I feel like after all of the torture that that particular person has given me, as far as their public singing fiascos, that I should only return the favor with my voice like this. Are you ready for this travesty, Zal? We might lose a lot of subscribers. I just have to warn you.
Let's do it.
Yeah, good. Okay. Everyone get ready. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sean. Happy birthday to you. That was deep down from the bottom of my heart. From one pushing out to another, right? Yeah.
After 3 people there, I feel you. It was 5 and now it's 2. Let's go.
but for all she feels in love, of course, because she's tone deaf. You know, the thing is, Mama Rubes is also tone deaf, so they can't hear how wrong it sounds. No, but for real, honestly, y'all, I'll tell you, for those of you who don't know, like my confidence level, my confidence in myself and like my ability to like just show up once a week even, or to be able to accomplish these types of things and to be comfortable just being myself and like myself being good enough, and that has a lot to do with Shar. It has a lot to do with Shar like tapping me when she had opportunities and saying, hey, you know, I need a co-host. You want to be my co-host? Because like there's a lot of things I did that I never would have done without Shar. Like being on, like having a radio show, I never would have had that without Shar. And I wouldn't have had the confidence to, you know, just talk to this person I barely know, aka Zal, and be like, hey, so you want to do this thing? Like I never would have done that because I wouldn't have had the confidence or the whatever. So, you know, it actually is. I couldn't wait. I was like, oh, good, my voice is terrible. I can't wait to sing for sure like this. It's a long-standing running joke. Serious but joke, but you know I really wanted to make sure that we did something a little bit extra special, you know, so that way Shar, while she was here, I want to make sure, because yeah, you know, I know that Shar's been really busy lately. Her birthday is tomorrow, so if she's got to pop off early, I totally understand. So I just wanted to make sure we got the happy birthday in, because Shar really has been a huge part of my growth and development as a, you know, a woman, going from a young woman to like just a regular aged woman, not old woman, regular aged woman. And you know, and all the stuff I've done on the internet and the growth and development, and anywhere I go in the internet, I know for sure as I become more successful, like I'll always have to go back and thank Shar. And Shar has always been super supportive of everything I've tried to do. Even if she knew it was a disaster, she'd go support anyway, because she's just that kind of person. And she's that kind of friend. So thank you very much, Shar, and happy birthday to you.
Hey, Ruby's still in my gimmick of heartfelt messages.
Heartfelt. That's right. Heartfelt, yes.
Well, we do have an amazing show with an interesting discussion. And I hope y'all will really be a part of, because this discussion is heavy, because I've been sitting around, so we got to get into that black culture bag and see, is it degenerate or not? Because I've seen some of the people from the outside said it might be, so we're going to get into that. We got some insane stories, too. These stories are absolutely crazy. Ruby, anything else about today's topics and everything else?
Well, you know, I feel like the men might not be happy with me on account of my last two stories. But I just want to say I'm trying to keep it fair. We have a new segment coming up, okay, where it's like the situation room, but that's not what we calling it because that's already the name of something somewhere else. Okay, where we analyze these situations, and it's going to be leading us into our culture, Black culture. Is it degeneracy? Is it synonymous with degeneracy? So I'm really looking forward to that. If I fall asleep before then, I apologize, y'all. I'm saying I can't promise I'll be here till the end, but I'm gonna give it the old college try, Yeah. So
as y'all know, anybody that want to join StreamYard will be available. So don't forget to join the StreamYard when we have at the end of the thing. I'll put it in the chat so everybody can join. Whoever wants to join, have our call-in segment. I'm looking forward to that. But y'all ready to get into these stories?
I'm about ready, yeah.
Let's get into it. They say I go hunting. So of course I'm hunting. This is an update on a previous story. It is your boy Zell May for the I'll Be That News. And I got another story for you. Bob Iger roasted for calling Hollywood strike demands unrealistic. Not much is unrealistic when you make $27 million a year. That's referring to how much Bob Iger makes a year. Because now, it's an update, the actors are on strike. All movies are almost canceled from right now. Before the writers were there, so any movie in the writing portion was canceled. Now the actor portion is also on strike. Now you can't, but no actors, you can't do a movie at all. Unless the movie's in post-production. So all your favorite movies might get delayed. Even though so many of them are so far off, it don't matter. By the way, I do praise Bob Iger more than Bob Chapek because Bob Iger is way better than Bob Chapek. But let's see how wrong or right do I feel Bob Iger. Disney CEO Bob Iger sat down for an interview Thursday morning and started trending immediately after he said that the WGA and SAG, Writers Guild, and the Screen Actors Guild, conditions were just not realistic, and that the prospect of a writer and actor strike was very disturbing. Iger comments was on a historic day that when SAG is expected to announce they are joining WGA on a picket line after their Wednesday contract negotiations deadline passed without a deal. It'll be the first Hollywood double strike in 6 years. Also notable for content, Iger's comments arrived after his Disney contract was extended for an additional 2 years. Sky-high executive salary had become a lightning rod during the WGA strike and the rallying cry on social media as CEOs. The lack of self-awareness in the business never ceased to amaze me, actor Anson Mount said on social media in response to Iger's Thursday comment highlighting Iger's exec pay. Speaking of C-suite pay, Iger's interview was also set across the sprawling pastoral landscape of Sun Valley, Idaho, where media's biggest mogul gather for what's liquidly been dubbed the billionaire summer camp. Well, if nothing else, Bob Iger giving this quote to CNBC Squawk Box from Sun Valley is putting Hollywood satire writers out of business, the Blacklist founder Franklin Leonard quipped on Twitter. So basically what this is that Bob Iger is saying it's unrealistic. Another quote I saw he actually said was that, I don't know if he quite said it, but that he was like, listen, they'll come to work when they get home and rents need to be paid. That's the feeling of a lot of these people. When rent need to be paid, it'll be fine. We don't lose no money. If we start filming, we ain't got to pay nobody. So when they come back, we start paying people. Guess what? We don't lose money. Again, in this bankruptcy world, which people win? They still have billions of dollars. The CEOs still get paid. They still have to run day to day. But the actors, if they don't work, they don't get paid. And if, like I said, if business go down, they just file bankruptcy, and then the business file bankruptcy and don't have to, and pay out the salaries to the CEOs and COOs and the execs they like, and don't pay nothing else to anybody else. And then they go off to the sunset without having to pay anyone else what they were due. And they just have bad credit for 7 years. But if I have $5 billion, who cares about credit? Now, about the overall situation, the writers, people can argue that the writing hasn't been good in films, that the acting for most part haven't been good in films, and the people that act great gets paid great, and the no-name actors don't. Is that a fair assessment? I don't know. Y'all answer that in the comments. So depending on what you think is good, who is to say what's good? Now, if it's not buying and not selling as much, film is not doing as good. Outside of Netflix, nothing else is profitable. Disney Plus is $1.1 billion down the drain. And I'm nowhere near telling you Disney's went broke, because Disney is not broke. Their parks well make far enough to exceed anything of going broke. Their movies make far enough to exceed going broke. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 made almost $800 million. Spider-Man, and that's just on the film, not including action figures, not including video games, not including character models, not including all the other stuff they sell. Spider-Man The new Spider-Man. Disney gets everything but the movie. I think they get even percentage of the movie, not much. Don't get much. But they overall get percentage of any action figure of Miles Morales. Anybody did 900 million? So they get that money too. They are in a good place in terms of money. Disney Plus just sucks. And this is my thing I think they could do to make it better. And this goes into Disney Plus too. Instead of spending $150 million on Secret Invasion, which you can't. I think you can only have what I think Bob Iger said they only going down to 2. They're only going down to 2 Disney Plus shows instead of like the 4 they were doing, which all 4 would be 100 million. Then they're gonna cut down on 1 or 2 Star Wars, which cost the same thing, 100 million. So I'm like, hey, listen, why don't you just give $5 million to random writers, producers, directors at guilds and stuff, and say, hey, here's $5 million budget, produce me some, and if you produce something great, you'll be on. You'll be on. We'll give you a serialize you, pay you more money, do all that. Instead of trying to make these big blockbusters, keeping VFX artists down the drain, they're out here struggling because you got these ridiculous deadlines with all these shows, spending all this money, and ultimately no one can accomplish anything because it's so silly on how you set everything up. But if I give you $5 million, $300 million budget over 3 years, $5 million plus that's 60 shows, 20 a year that you can put out to different producers, directors, writers, everything on people that are trying to get in the business. They can spend they can spend the way they want, do their own thing. And then all of a sudden, guess what? You might not like the movie. It might not be your cup of tea. The acting is delusional. Sounds of freedom. Just imagine. This is from a business perspective. Imagine how many people would have actually went and bought Disney Plus to see Sound of Freedom up. Of course, you put in the R-rated section in which you have to use your parent ID thing to do it. Just imagine how many people do it. And then let's just imagine if like 50 Cent first years on Stars, and you remember how bad it looked with Power? Just imagine you get a hit with Power. You find a young black director who come up with a story like Power. Then all of a sudden you got all the black people funding it. And all of a sudden you got 3 million people spending $11.99 a month on your product. Put something good on your ESPN Plus. Then all of a sudden you make money. What did I say? $11.99 for like what 3 million people? That's 33 million. All of a sudden at 1.1 billion, you took away 500 million, you're making a surplus of 200 million, you're probably breaking even. That's what Netflix did. That's why Netflix is the only profitable thing. HBO Max is second. But HBO Max also put on a lot of lower budget shows instead of making everything a hit. And then you say they're unrealistic. This needs to be unrealistic. Now you're making cuts off your unrealism. That's what I'm saying. But it's made for rich people to win, so they don't have to think. It's no consequences. Now, do you agree with the actors or writers? Sometimes it depends on who writing and who acting. But this is not worth any money. Y'all should not get paid. Then sometimes like, pay that man all this money. So I don't know how to judge off that. They call me a fence sitter, so I'm sitting on the fence on this. Let me know what y'all think. Like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that. Peace. Yeah. I don't know. Like, listen, rich people went in and they don't care. And they like, hey, listen, when they get hungry, I don't have to pay them right now. When they get hungry, they'll come back. That's how they feel. I don't know how you win against that in American bankruptcy culture. Like, we set up for them to win. Too big to fail. Ruby, your thoughts on the writers' strike or the actors' strike?
Oh, okay. I was like, you're like the writer's strike. Wait, what? That's still I mean, what are they striking over? I'm sorry. I'm very sick today. I'm gonna need extra help.
They're striking over pay. They said they're not getting paid well.
Sorry. Like, what?
They said they're striking over pay, Ruby. Ruby laughing at these successful actors' problems.
Well, no, because I think it probably comes down to the exact same thing I said about the writers, which is I don't understand why everyone feels like they deserve anything more than the rest of the planet. If you got paid more than minimum wage, then you're doing better than the majority of the country you live in. So STFU. Like, that's how I feel about, like, really, you think that you deserve more? Why do you feel like your ability to dance around on a screen and be someone else for an hour or whatever, why do you think that that's more valuable than the chick at the grocery store who knows how to slice my deli meat just right? Why do you think that you deserve so much more than she does? Why? Because some actor out there got paid billions of dollars? Good for them. that's not you, I don't see why you think the standard should be you get paid a lot of money. I don't. I think if we want to make that standard, we should start somewhere that's actually valuable. Like, I don't know, school teachers. And I have no sympathy for anyone who works in the arts and entertainment industry who get really the freest, easiest money ever and then feel entitled and hard done by because they only got 500,000 and I deserve 750,000. Like, shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. That's more money than most people make in a lifetime. Go away. That's how I see it.
Some people live in California and they choose to live in that really expensive state, and they're like, "Oh, your cost of living got to be 100K to live here." And I'm like, oh.
But you don't need to live in the city. Listen, if I were to live in Toronto, if you live in the city proper of downtown Toronto, it's millions and millions of dollars just to get one little box of a condo. Okay. So that's why no one lives in Toronto proper, right? No one lives downtown. Everyone lives in surrounding. That's why they call it the Greater Toronto Area, right? It's no one lives in Toronto. Everyone lives in all these suburbs on the outskirts, and then they commute in and out of the city. So if you can afford to live in the middle of the city, then go live in a suburb that's a lot cheaper and commute in and out. Oh no, your commute's now going to go from 15 easy minutes to like 2 hours, and people will know you can't afford a $1 billion condo. Oh no, your poor bleeding heart. Like, I don't feel sorry for you. So no, it's not going to happen. Sorry.
That's fair. Like I said, I'm on the fence. I understand how the process works, but at the same time, it's hard. A lot of y'all making a lot of money. I know some ain't. A lot of y'all making a lot of money. It's hard for me to be.
Well, if you're not, then you don't earn a lot of money. Sucks to be you. It'd be like me complaining and getting on my soapbox now and saying it's unfair that YouTube does not pay me $10,000 a month to make content. I make way more content than some of these people who make $10,000 a month. So why am I not getting $10,000 a month? It's unfair. We should go on strike. Except those other people are getting $10,000 a month, not because of how many videos they produce, but because of how many people they bring in to watch the videos.
Or how many view bots they use.
It don't matter one way or the other. Well, then they invested money to get view bots. So like, what do you want? My point is that unless we're getting that same level of views, who are we complaining about? What are we complaining about? You can't. There's a metric. That's just what it comes down. There's a metric. And if you're not living up to it, guess what? Do better. Figure out how to do better. Stop whining and bitching and moaning, complaining. Everyone should give you something for free, and figure out a way to do better so you can earn the money you want. Especially when you're talking about whining, complaining people of the majority demographic, because then I really don't feel sorry for you. Anyway, let's speak of a demographic that I care about, babies. And more importantly, let's talk about how we can maybe make the police actually useful on a daily basis. Y'all know this next story is about, I'm going to say, an impressive invention, and I'm going to say a really good way of putting to use the fact that when you call 911 because you need an ambulance or fire, the police always show up first, right? And every once in a while, what you need is some type of life-saving measure. But let's be real, the police are just not qualified. I mean, they're not doctors or EMTs, right? I mean, they take like a little rotation on the paramedic thing, but they're not qualified doctors, right? But they are qualified to do something like this. And so let's take a look at this video, which shows, I would just say, like, honestly, I think this is revolutionary. I think everyone should have one in their house, honestly.
Other news today, a child chokes to death every 5 days in this country. And a 2-year-old boy would have become one of those statistics the other day, but he didn't, thanks to the quick action of a police officer and a device we've told you about before, the LifeVac. A police officer races to save a toddler. It's an emergency. But first, he needs something in the trunk.
Where's it at? Where's it at? There we go.
He grabs what he needs and runs to the stricken 2-year-old boy.
Hang on, buddy. Hang on.
He assembles the device
Here, put him down. Put him down.
and places it over the boy's mouth.
This okay? Ready, buddy? Ready?
Yes.
Hold that on his face, okay?
Yes.
Hold that tight.
He plunges it once.
Did I get it out?
No.
Okay, come on, buddy.
stuck.
Come on, buddy.
It's stuck.
Come on, buddy.
After several more plunges,
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Look at that, buddy.
Wow.
success.
Thank
That's
you so much.
amazing.
Look at that. Thank you so much. Yeah, no problem. Oh my God. You okay, bud?
This is what was lodged in his throat, a toy nail more than 2 inches long. The device is called a life vac. We've told you about situations where life vacs save the day, like little Gabriel, who choked on a piece of pancake at a restaurant. A total stranger rushed to his car to retrieve his life vac, and he saved baby Gabriel.
Hi, Gabriel.
And here is Gabriel today.
Thank you so much for allowing us to share the video with America.
Major Hillard is the man who saved his life.
I'm just happy I could help at least just one person. And through the effect of that, and obviously the show, to be able to help others not have that unfortunate circumstance and that loss of life, I mean, that's just awesome.
They were among the guests at a special event celebrating 1,000 lives saved by LifeVac.
Probably way more than that.
63 were
Really?
saved thanks to viewers learning about the LifeVac right here on Inside Edition.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone who watched Inside Edition and were inspired, first by baby Gabriel and then the other families whose stories we've shared, to go out there and get a LifeVac. Arthur Lee invented the LifeVac.
Wow.
As simple as place, push, pull.
You literally invented this in your garage.
Amazing.
I did. I had simplified it down to it's stuck in a pipe. Who unclogs pipes? Plumber.
Yeah, that's what I was
So I
thinking.
went and looked in the plumber aisle, saw a little plunger, put it on my face.
That's literally what I was thinking. Like, yo, this reminds me of a plunger. A way more effective one, but it reminds me of a plunger, right? Like, dude, if we could get toilet plungers to be half this effective, we're putting a lot of plumbers out of business. I'm just saying, like, wow.
Felt it pull it, and I just re-engineered it to pull instead of push.
I can't help but wonder how many amazing things are going to happen because the people who might have died from choking didn't.
And I mean, like, honestly, I can't believe I had never heard of this. I can't believe I've never heard of this. Somehow I missed baby Gabriel, or I somehow forgot about him, okay? But I was like, wow, when this came across my desk, I was like, listen, I have got to share this with y'all. So if you have a baby or a grandbaby, nieces and nephews, okay, grab one of these, because that is incredible. And it's a very effective. And it has saved countless children, like that was out of 1,000, and that's just the ones that they knew of, right? Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And again, every single cop should be equipped with one of these, because the fact that they show up at every single one of these emergencies when they get called first, right? They're always driving around, patrolling and whatever. Imagine if they could actually be of use to the community. Hey, people might even get to know who these cops are in their communities again. Might get to like them because, hey, you saved some kid yesterday. Just saying, without having to try to figure out how to do CPR or the Heimlich and trying to break ribs. Because, I mean, oftentimes it does break ribs, right? I mean, just from the motion. So, I think this would be absolutely incredible. Absolutely an incredible invention, life-saving invention. And every cop should have one. Every police station should have a bunch of them just in case. And every person who has kids should have one. Come on now. Let's get into this. This is amazing. This is amazing, y'all. Let me know what you guys think. All right, y'all. So shout out to Shar. So when we release this story, we're going to include this story when someone uses it wrong, which is wild, because I already have a more extended story. We're going to show you what happens normally, because the cops always arrive first. Anyone who's ever called, they say, do you want an ambulance? Do you want fire? Do you want police? It doesn't matter which one of those things you choose. All three show up, and the police always show up first, right? And so I have a bunch of videos of when the police show up first and there's a choking baby. And so you can kind of see the struggle. They don't really know. It's a lot, like it's amazing to see how much easier, more quickly, what of a difference it makes. So to know that someone used it for the wrong, like, I don't know. Oh gosh. Okay, yo, that's gonna be in the release, y'all. That's gonna be in the release when we release it. What do you think of this, Al?
Listen, shout out to Great Pill Podcast in the chat. But
hey,
listen, anything to make life better, easier for everyone, because you don't never know. You see them little babies choking. You want to always try to have something. People panic, but if you already have something you know how to use, learn how to use it to the first two. When you look at practice, a lot of people just buy something and don't pray, and then you get in that situation, you start panicking, like, oh, what am I supposed to do? You got to read the paper and everything. So make sure you do that. Like I said, this is very helpful. Police trained to use it. That way, they can, like I said, they can be helpful, because we call police for everything, and then they don't know how to handle a lot of situations. So this will be something they can help with if they're in the area, security guard, whatever. And like if you at a park or some security guard, they know how to use it, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. And especially, I mean, anyone who's had kids or, kids around them knows kids put everything in their mouths, and, you can't literally watch them every single second. And, they put everything in their mouth. It's very easy for them to swallow things. Now you see your kids kind of breathing differently, and it's hard for them. And it's just like, wow, just to think that you could literally put this on their face, hold it there, suction it, it's nice and comfortable, and then pull. And that's it. Like there's no breaking their ribs. There's no trying not to break their ribs. There's no trying to feel for a place with your struggling infant. Like, I mean, again, I think that this would be, if all the police had this, it could make a world of difference. But, people, just if you have kids, nieces and nephews, your friends have kids, if you have grandkids, just have it. Just have it. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? So, and I mean, a lot of choking deaths happen. Or injury. When I say injury, is in the brain is cut off from oxygen for a long time, right? You might survive, but then you have hypoxic brain damage afterwards, and these kids are never the same afterwards. So, I mean, this could literally make a huge difference. So, that's why I had to let y'all know. Yeah, it's exactly. See, Roslyn, that's what I was saying. I was saying the same thing. Like, to me, I think this could do a world of good. When you're seeing the police actually do something and saving babies, they would start to get to know the communities that they're policing, and they could be valuable, except for trying to get people arrested and meet these arrest quotas and whatever, right? Like, oh, hey, we'll call the police when we have a medical emergency, or whatever, and they could just from having this little machine go like this, boom, save babies' lives, save children's lives, start to get to know the families in the neighborhood. People can come out, give them the pat on the back, and they'll feel like maybe, hey, they're worthwhile. And then maybe in 12 years, when that kid that they saved tries to rob a store or something, they won't so easily pull a trigger, because they don't know anyone in this community they've been policing for 20 years, So, I think it'll be a good thing, all in all.
I do too. Speaking of children, well, kind of not a child. This is one of the strangest stories. Well, I can't say this. It's probably top 10 strangest story we ever did, because I'm so confused at the end. I don't know how many stories I have been confused of, but this is one of them. So let's watch. Strange cases and just realize why. Y'all, we seen stories recently where we hear toddlers on the side of the street and people picking them up, and you're like, why? Why are people doing it? What's going on in the world? Is this world crazy? And here's another one of those stories, and we might go over the other one soon on the show. Missing Rudy Ferrara's mom hid him for 8 years, passed him off as nephew, according to the cops. Let's do a little listening part. Let's listen a little bit. We done took the hat off. We gotta listen to this.
Years old when his mother reported him missing. During the 8-year time frame where he was missing, investigators followed up on many tips, leads, collected evidence proving that Rudy was not missing during the 8-year period.
Always be skeptical. A lot of strange things happening at work. Strange things, Daryl. I remember that story. But this strange thing, because somehow this kid was reported missing for 8 years. And what happened?
Many of these facts included contacts and statements with relatives, friends, neighbors, and medical professionals. Rudy was recently identified as having previous HPD interactions, meaning that he made contact with patrol officers out on the street. However, during these contacts, fictitious names and date of births were given, misleading the officers, and Rudy would remain missing.
So they was kind of suspicious, and they was hearing him, and so they got curious. But you look like that kid that's missing. Like, no, I'm the nephew, and I was born on this day. Me and my cousin really close though.
In fact, both Janie, Rudy's mother, and Rudy himself gave fictitious names while interacting with various patrol officers. After investigators talked with him yesterday, it was discovered that Rudy returned home the following day on March 8th, 2015.
So he went right back home? Like they thought he was missing, did they keep it up? Why did they keep it up? What do y'all think? Why did they keep it up? If he came back and you had no problem, why did you keep doing this story? Why did you keep doing this? So many questions.
The mother, Janie, continued to deceive police by remaining adamant that Rudy was still missing. She alleged her nephew was a person friends and family were seeing coming and going. However, we disputed that.
That's insane. We back hunting for the truth. The mother of the Houston man reported missing in 2015 actually hid her now 25-year-old son at home and repeatedly lied to police because he had miraculously found last week, police said Thursday. Janie Santana referred to her son Rudy Perez as her nephew if they were ever spotted publicly, but remains free from criminal charges for now. The Houston Police Department continues to probe the bizarre bogus disappearance. In the 8 years since Perez was said to have disappeared while walking his dogs, how old would he be? It was 8 years. He was 17. Why are you hiding a 17-year-old? 25 now. Does he have mental issues? Is it like autistic or something? You don't know how to take care of? Why are you hiding a grown human being with you? He's at 8 years, so he's 25 now. This is strange. Like if he just ran away and just like with a girl or something randomly and was living with her family, that story makes more sense. Like I understand being 17, being in love, but I'm living with my girl, Mom. So weird. In fact, both Jamie, Rudy's mother, and Rudy himself gave fictitious names. Vargas, who was 17 at the time he disappeared, actually returned home on March 8th, 2015, one day after he was said to have gone missing. But his mom continued to keep up the lie. Here's a picture of Rudy, October 1st. He's 17 years old, 5'8", 200 pounds. Hippie boy. He's a big one. Hello. Ferris's own relatives reportedly believed he was still missing despite his swift return. I've never seen Rudy since the day he went missing, Ferris' aunt Sylvia said. Ferris was found slumped over outside the Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic Church on June 29, 2023, after he was reportedly fled his family home. His mother lauded the discovery in a statement to the media, writing, "We want to thank the media and public for all their support. My son Rudy Ferris IV was found on Thursday after missing for 8 years." So he ran away? Wait, was she kidnapping him? This story is so weird. Ferris and his family initially declined hospital treatment after the Houston Fire Department checked him over on scene. Officials said Thursday, but Santana later transported him to the hospital. Police defended their decision to release Ferris into his mother's care and their decision to wait 6 days before interviewing him. You can't force a potential victim. He's 25. You cannot force. You cannot force him. I know people criticize. They like that boy. What you gonna do? A 25-year-old man will say, "I'm gonna go to my mom's house." What you gonna tell a 25-year-old man? He is legally not obligated. Like you can't force somebody to go to an alcoholic center. You can't force them to go in any building. If they choose to leave as an adult, they can leave. Despite all criticism, I'm sorry, that's the rules of engagement. To come and to give statement. He declined to say whether he considered Ferris a victim. Again, he's 25. We have no clue. Janie Santana, the mother of Rudy, has so far not been charged in connection with her son purported disappearance. Police interviewed Ferris and Santana on Wednesday, and she was allowed to leave the hospital with Ferris following the interview. That same day, Houston-based activist Cornell X claimed Ferris made horrifying allegations against his mother. Oh, this is where I've been wanting to get to. Because I'm like, why would she hire a whole grown man? She would ask him to play daddy. She told him that he had to be her husband. Oh, we getting into this thing. According to Cornell X, who said he was with the police at the time, the hospital beside him. He came for her, said his mother told him to keep his safe returns under wraps, according to the report. This is what a lot of y'all do out here. Y'all pretend y'all child of y'all husband. She just took it a step further. She actually made her husband. Like, oh, this is my nephew. When people saw him because he looked like a cousin, you can't be that young. But at home, you got to play daddy. You got to take care of the yard, son. You got to do all of that stuff. My little boogie pad, no telling what strange things I did to you. She was giving him drugs. She was punishing him by locking him in a room over and over. She convinced him that the law enforcement wanted to put him in jail. That's because he ran away. He was going to go to prison. Oh, so that's why he ran away. That's why he ran away, because his mom probably abused him. But Detective Sergeant Stephen Jimenez, who personally interviewed, dispute any claims of or know that Ferris has not reported any. Again, I haven't read anything that says she was. None of that said he was abused. I have no clue of that. None of that. She said she was giving him and punishing him by locking him in a room over and over again. That don't mean. Now I get how you can lead to that obligation. Even I kind of hinted at it, but that doesn't mean it has to be. It could just be like, oh, I want my little husband with me all the way to take care of me. Some weird old people. I don't know what's going on. I always have to have a man, an alpha male to take care of me, something like that. It don't have to be. So he said he is trained to listen to statements that can help him get charged and move forward with the case, but there were none that he told. No search warrants has been executed on the home so far. He's a grown man. At this point, he's 25. Don't know what to do. Police know Ferris was 17, legally an adult in the state of Texas when he disappeared. Again, it wasn't like she took a 14-year-old and you found him at 22. He took a 17-year-old and found him at 25. And he lied to police and they lied. So 17, it's not much you can do unless you can produce something that was assault worthy. I'm not talking about just physical or anything. Her locking him in the room, pretending to be dead, mentally manipulating him, it's not illegal unless you trafficking him. And apparently she just wanted him to play house. Strange, weird, but is it illegal? Let me know. How do y'all feel? This is our second Texas story. I'm going to Texas. But it's Houston, not San Antonio. So we good, y'all. So I got the walk and everything else. Like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that stuff. Let me know y'all thoughts, how strange the story is. Out to him, find him, but he's back with his mom. And now I was curious, Ruby, about did she get money? Like, I was looking through the story. I haven't found any cases that she got, like, she get money from that or anything. So I was trying to find more information on it. Couldn't really find it. But if I do, I'll have an update to that story. But like I said, I couldn't find no information on why she pretended her 17-year-old son was missing after he walked the dog. He came back the next day. And then she just locked him in the room and claimed he was her nephew. For 8 years, and now he's 25. He ran away from home and got caught and was by a church, and they found him.
I mean, I don't know. I was more a little bit. That's what I'm looking at right now because I wanted to see because the statement that you made where you said, and I think you were reading the article at the time, but where you said that, well, he was 17, so he's a legal adult. But that's not. No, you're not. You're not a legal adult at 17. Adulthood is not something that is decided state by state. First of all, it's decided on a federal level, so it's like on the whole countrywide level. And 18 is the age of adulthood, right? That's the age of majority. So when you can't vote until you're 18, for example, right? There's a lot of different things that like people confuse two things. So they say, well, if you're allowed to choose to have sex with whoever you want at whatever age, right, then that means you're an adult. That's not true. That's just the age of consent, right? And so I believe probably the age of consent in Texas is 17, right? Because the age of consent in a lot of states is 16 or 17, right? But that's not the age of adulthood. You're still not allowed to gamble. You're still not allowed to buy cigarettes. You're still not allowed to buy alcohol. You're still not allowed. There's a lot of things you're not allowed to do that you're allowed to do once you become an adult, right? So, you know, to me, there's an iffy confusion there where people say, well, when you're 17, if you're allowed to choose who you're allowed to sleep with, well, then you're allowed to whatever. No, you're not. At 17 years old, if you wanted to have adult rights, you would have to go and get legally emancipated from your parents, because your parents still have like that legal control over you when you're 17, because you're still a child, no matter who you're sleeping with. And so I don't know. I think that there's confusion there, where when you start getting to these older teenage years, no one's really sure what the rules are, and no one is really sure what the rules should be. And I think that becomes a problem, right? Because we don't know how much we should protect. Is this a kid? Is this an adult? Is there, well, if they're allowed to consent to sleep with whoever they want, are we allowed to protect them from anything? Are we allowed to say that they have been manipulated or controlled in some way if they're 17 and they're allowed to sleep with whoever they want? Or, are we still allowed to look at 17-year-olds as being children? Because, in most legal ways they are. Or like, I think that it confuses people, and they don't know what to do with it, especially if we're talking about a 17-year-old boy. Then I think they really get confused and they're not really sure what to do. So I think that's where we're getting questions, and people aren't really sure, and they might feel iffy about stuff, but then they'll just kind of like, because if it was a girl, I don't think we would have the same question. Like, people would have been sitting there and like, from day one, a 17-year-old girl, I don't care, that's a baby. And they'd be running to save this. Oh, I see something weird's going on. Oh, I see a flash of little blonde girl head. Oh, call the police. Right? Like, that's what they do. They want to protect
He literally
girls.
ran away from her. Was passed out by a church. Like, he's clearly trying to get away, but but now at this point he's 25, so they're like, hey, can't stop him. When they said 17 from the article, I was talking about 25. They can't put him in no like custody or nothing because he's 25, so it's like, or you can go.
But they can though. They can. So if a child is kidnapped, and this is where it matters, is 17 a child or not? Because if a child is kidnapped and then a child is basically controlled and manipulated and whatever, right? They actually don't have the same level of, say, culpability and like mental acuity, like as like someone who got there as an adult, right? It's kind of like when you say like trafficking, right? So someone who's been trafficked, there's an element of mental control that's there and mental manipulation that's there and whatever, right? There's a breakdown in psychological function. And so I do think there's actually, I can't remember exactly what the laws are, what the things are, but there's basically people can be vulnerable persons. So even though they're adults, they're still vulnerable persons for a particular reason. And that vulnerable personhood allows people to dismiss the fact that you're an adult because there's something that is making you not an adult given this particular scenario, right? So I don't know. I mean, I would have to look into it more. I feel like I'm going to have to do some more research on this one because I'm not 100% sure on Texas particularly as a state, but yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like there's more. I feel like we need to have like a whole discussion about this one. Like this needs to be another discussion. We need to have a whole discussion about this.
Yeah, that's why I was more confused, and that's why I said strange on the strangest story, because I don't like 17. Isn't that a child? But on the state level, it's not. Then on the national level, it is. Then it's his mother. But then they said he kidnapped for 8 years. Did she get money? I don't see anything. But then they said he never said this, but he ran away at 25 away from her, and then she locked him in the room. Said the police gonna get you. If you leave, the police gonna arrest you.
Mm-hmm.
That's according to what he said at the police station, and they were like, "We can't do nothing about it." So then, but he went back with the mother again because of manipulation, and he's a 25-year-old kid, and I'm like, what is his mental status and all that stuff? Because we don't know. There's a lot of stuff that can play into this that we don't know anything about. She also said she drugged him a lot, which is troubling. So I'm like,
Right, even that, I don't know. Well, guys, we have another troubling story in a completely different kind of way. And again, not all of the details that I have were released in today's story, right? So when we do the big release, the individual release, you'll get more then. But let's take a look at the Campbell Clinic shooting.
technical issues with this one, so just did not want to play. So let me
Oh. So what do we do about that?
we open it again. Ready.
Zelle's a producer, so no one can blame me for this. I just want to point that out. Thanks.
This story is not gonna open, so we're gonna do it through Google Drive. Oh,
Okay. Well, in the meantime, you know, I think that, and see, that's another thing too, Rosalind. I have an issue with that, where she says, you know, the U.S. you can go to prison at 14. Yeah, you can. Well, the thing is, so if you're young enough, right? Because the youngest I believe that they've charged and convicted someone as an adult was 12, I believe, although it might be 11 now. But anyway, when they charge you as an adult and you're convicted as an adult, you get an adult sentence, except for some states which commute your sentence eventually, because they think it's unfair to put you into prison for natural life when you commit a crime at like 10 or 11, whatever. But with the exception of that, you go to kiddie prison first, right? You go to like juvenile detention or whatever until you are 17 or 18 or whatever it is. There are a few states that will put you into adult prison if you've like committed murder or whatever when you're like 16, 17, but the majority of them will put you into kiddie prison until you're an adult and then put you into adult prison for the rest of your natural life. So, but again, I have an issue with that in general, charging children as adults. It's either we say that mentally they're different or they're not. It's wild to me, but did we get the situation fixed though?
Re-downloading it because it don't work on Google Drive. I'm like, okay. So we having an issue with this one story, even though it worked a minute ago.
Okay, so do you want to do a different story for now?
I'll just download it. We're gonna try it one more time.
Okay.
Nope. No. When I download it, I have to go to another story.
Yeah, just go to your next story for now, and we'll try to figure something out in the meantime.
All right, so we got another story. Y'all might know this story. It's about it's a terrorist. It's a terrorist etiquette. A well-known social media star has got caught in Europe, and now we have to figure out what is going on with her. Do we get her? I mean, not Europe, Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
We have multiple stories, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna see what happens. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it, how y'all thoughts are, because this story is interesting. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what? You know what I mean. Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Listen, I'm a fair man. It's your boy Lavas. I may looking cute, looking clean, looking sexy. Y'all ain't heard that. That's my overall 99 thing. But I'll be that news and hear that. I would like and subscribe, hit up all them notification bells, because I'm a fair man. I'm a fair man, and if I discuss the passport bros not having knowing code or being prepared, I also have to do it for the women. I have to do it for the women, of course. Let me stop this real quick. But I have to do it for the women. As y'all can see, last 2 months were described as terrifying for a Houston woman who is being detained in Dubai for screaming. We don't know much about this story, but we're going to research it. We're going to get deep down into it. And why did the people of Dubai, that's not known for the best for women's rights, gotta be honest, better than Saudi Arabia over them, of course, but it's not the best known. Let's see what happened. She allegedly was talking loudly at a rental car agent after the agent told her the only way to get the item she forgot in a rental car was to pay money. Women are not allowed to scream in Dubai. Again, y'all want to go on these vacations. These places are amazing. America sucks. Canada and America suck. But at the same time, you go overseas, they don't play the same rules. They don't play by the same. If it's illegal, it's illegal. I think America got her out though, so she's back after 2 months. But let's see this story.
Sister says when her daughter went to the company to retrieve her ID, credit card, and other items left in the rental, Baxter says it did not go well.
She found out that she could only receive those items if she paid an undisclosed amount of money. She dealt with a very aggressive individual.
Again, in America, this works 100%. Over there, they don't care. Just letting y'all know before, despite how you feel, right or wrong, I disagree with it too, but I'm American. Right or wrong, people have rules. It's different than yours. Feel like the rules unfair? Come back home. Bet over here. Bet on this side. Just saying. It's a beautiful place. Dubai is amazing. I would recommend you go there. But before you go there, before you go anywhere, understand the rules of engagement. Understand their culture. Understand their civics, what you can and cannot do. Where you can go, where you can and cannot go. It's the smart anywhere, even in America. Understand, if you're a person who goes to Chicago and you don't know no one on O Block, see, if I went to Chicago, I know they come. That pick me up. Y'all go to Chicago, go to O Block, you don't know nobody. The first thing they do is sniff and see if you know. They sniff you, dog. They sniff you out instantly. So that's not even just overseas, that's in America. Always be aware of where you're going. Because you end up on the wrong street, you have some dude, hey fam, who you know? Who you with? Who your people? You ain't got no answer. It's also probably better, as my cousin stated, to usually, if you don't know the colors or anything like that, to just say, hey, I'm just passing through as a tourist. So that could work also. Just keep your head down, keep going as a tourist. Do not show any signs. Shout out to my cousin for that, because that is very knowledgeable too. If, like I said, just stating who your cousin is or your family, you better know what block you on again. If they from that block, if they good, you don't know who people beefing with, you don't know what street they beefing with. So it's better off to just say, I'm a tourist, blah, 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 going about your business. Don't try to engage and all that stuff. So know what you're doing and know what you're not doing. Now, if you know people from that area and they don't quite know you, but you know, oh, they wear that color, I'm with what's the name, oh, you good. They might even take better care of you. But again, it's about what you know. And if you don't know nothing, say I'm a tourist and keep walking. Do not look around, don't look lost. You look like a mark, and that's just warning signs. Cause I almost gave y'all bad advice at the same time. So I had to bring myself back. Like, listen, okay, if you know somebody, you on the wrong street on that block, and they got beef, and then you say you good cousins, you can end up being bad. But like I said, shout to cuts.
A young man there who was screaming at her.
Baxter says her 29-year-old daughter ultimately yelled back at the rental car agent, she says, resulting in her being charged for screaming there in Dubai.
And so she is in jail for one reason and one reason alone. She raised her voice. In that country, a female is not even allowed to raise her voice. If she raises her voice, it's punishable by jail time.
It's been very...
That is true. It's punishable by jail time. Again, understand where you are going, what you are doing, what coach you in, what you can and cannot do, what areas to go in. Always research and study before you go somewhere. Understand the culture. Passport bros had to learn it. Now everybody can learn.
Very emotional. There are some days I stay up all night crying.
They have a strict law system that is really based on theocracy.
This website warns, quote, laws and customs are very different.
Look, by the way, if y'all ever been overseas, they give you like little paper that you come in on. I don't know if y'all ever read them. I don't know how many of y'all been overseas, but when you go overseas, they usually, as a tourist, it's like a little form. When you sign in from going to another country, they check your stuff. You go in through this little thing, but it's a little form you sign. Then they give you a little pamphlet. But I don't know if it's everywhere, to be fair. It was in South Korea. Man, I don't know if it's everywhere. But yeah, you got a little pamphlet. They tell you customs and stuff, what you're not supposed to do in America. Get the paper, know what you're doing. I don't know if it's everywhere, but it seemed like this looked sort of like the thing they gave you.
So be aware of your actions to ensure they don't offend while in United Arab Emirates. Now, after Baxter says her daughter was charged with screaming in Dubai, her passport has been taken, and the American social media influencer who works as a truck driver can't leave the UAE, according to her mom. And her mom says she's been placed under a travel ban pending the outcome of the investigation.
Listen, they go all the way. Since she's American, she's probably gonna be in there for probably a few more months, maybe, and then they're gonna get out because they're gonna be like, hey man, listen, it's America. Do us a favor. Y'all know we cool. Y'all cool, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got no beef. Ain't like a Brittany Griner situation where both countries kind of had beef with each other. Probably gonna be like, hey, once it come across their desk, gotta go through all those weird procedures in the government, then you gotta deal with it.
It's very frightening.
It's a lot of procedures. I know it's frustrating. It's a lot of procedures. This person gotta sign it, this person gotta sign it. By the time they get to it, because they got all these other laws and they gotta sign it, they gotta do all this paperwork, and then this person gotta get it back, and then they gotta come back to them. A lot of red tape. It seems unnecessary, but at the same time, it's procedural stuff. Some of it they can cut out. Some of it's very important, by the way.
The longer she's been there, the more reality has started to kick in.
In our opinion, she did not commit a crime. Don't punish women for doing the same thing a man can do in Dubai. It's not fair and it's not right.
That is true, but in that country, they don't care. And by the way, there's a lot of men that come like, yeah, you can do shut up, woman. Again, you live in an era that's insane to me. That's me personally, but at the same time, I'm still telling you, abide by the customs, the place you are at. Don't just go there and just think you can just do like you do in America, because again, America, which I include Canada, all the America, it's the whole thing. You get away with a lot more than you get overseas. You know, there's a lot of things you can get a lot better than other places for a lot of people. And I want y'all to be aware of that when you talk. I have a lot of problem with a lot of things America do, but it's a lot better than a lot of places. Let me know what y'all think. Like and subscribe, all that. Hit that notification bell. Let me know, how do you feel about it? It's unfair, but it is the law. Which side are you on? Do you think the laws need to be changed worldwide? You ain't got no power to do it. Or do you like, hey, listen, you know the law, you should gotta know how to act when you in place. When you're in somebody's house, you gotta know how to act and how to their rules. Maybe they don't like shoes on. You gotta take shoes. Don't just go in there and be like, I walk in my house in my shoes. Listen, like I said, once you somewhere, you have to know their customs. They give you that little, I don't know if they do it everywhere, but when I went to South Korea, Japan, they give you a little pamphlet about customs is a little different. So you just understand the laws. Listen, when you go over places, you gotta know that. That's all I'm saying. You gotta know that, Ruby.
Well, if y'all remember, it was a president, I'm pretty sure, and he was getting on or off of a plane to somewhere in, I believe it was Asia, and he gave the peace symbol, which in America, or maybe it was, I'm pretty sure it was a peace symbol. And, in America, in Western world, that's a good thing, peace. We cool. Yay, maybe bunny ears, right? That's what it means. But to them, it basically means F you, right? So, and that was a problem. And that is around the time that we should have known, and we should have learned a valuable lesson as the West, that other people's cultures matter just as much to them as our cultures matter to us. And so when in Rome, do like the Romans. Okay, you expect everybody, listen, America expects everyone to be a melting pot, right? Go to America and become American in ways that don't even make sense, right? Like if you're too dark skinned, I don't know, use bleaching cream. If your hair is 4C, figure out a way to straighten it so it's 1A, right? Like America is the worst at saying you have to come and be what I say is human in order for you to be successful in this country. But then when Americans go other places, they don't feel that they have to follow the same guidance, the same rules. And that's the way it is. Their culture is their culture. And I don't care if you agree with it or not. Oh, wait, you thought because you've been told your whole entire life that you shouldn't be disrespecting men by raising your voice and slapping up men and doing stuff that, you shouldn't be getting too big for your britches, because if he were to ever hit you back, you'd be in the hospital. You thought, well, who cares? I've been ignoring that my whole life and getting away with it, so I should be able to do it in Dubai too. Oops. Nah. And saying, well, that's not fair. That's unfair because men can raise their voices. It doesn't matter. That's their culture. And you know what? Men get penalized for things in Dubai that women never would. You wouldn't be like, come on, punish my daughter for that thing because a man would have gotten punished, right? No, because then the double standard's fine for you, right? Like, no. She should have known better. I'm sure they told her better, actually. I bet you they told her better, because they especially tell women these things. And if she decided she wanted to dismiss that, if she didn't have enough home proper training that she could just control herself and her wild wanting to pop off at the mouth until she left the country that would imprison her for it, well,
Listen, they give you that little pamphlet that tell you cultural differences. I know a lot of people just put it in their bag and don't read it. The reason they give it to you, tell you right now, don't do this sign, don't do this signal, don't do that. It can land you in jail. And remember, if you do have a problem with it, we do have a discussion after the next story. So be prepared for that. We will send the StreamYard link. Remember this and come back to it. And just remember, I would go home, write a blog as my experience for paying for what I shouldn't have to, different culture, and go on with life. I doubt she'll stay in there for like years or something, but America will get out sooner or later whenever they get to it. When they, like I said, when the paperwork go through, they'll be like, hey, can y'all let her out for me, do me a solid? And they'll be like, all right, you do us a solid in the future. And I bet whenever the paperwork get done, it's her fault for not paying attention. Listen, if they tell you to pay a fee and you don't know nothing, pay that fee. That's all I'm saying. Do not just yell at them like, You do what I say. No. Listen, if I don't know what, the reason I brought up Chicago and other places, even in America, if you don't know how they react to stuff, don't do it.
No,
like,
don't do it. Don't. And you know what? Here's the thing. On top of like and this is it bothers me. It really does, because we just saw not last week, I think it was the week before, Karen, who was basically talking to someone from somewhere in the same area of the world, right? And saying like, where you're from, women, but where I'm from, women are allowed to have opinions, women are allowed to this, and women are allowed to that, right? Popping off, right? So again, that's cool. You can do that because you were doing that in a country that allows you to do that, right? But that's our rules. Do you think that dude wouldn't have loved to be able to get you arrested just for running your mouth and raising your voice at him? Of course, right? Because that's what he's used to, but he can't, right? Likewise, though, when you're in Rome, do like the Romans, and you don't get to. I don't know Americans keep doing this, and Canadians do it too, right? But Brittany Griner or whatever, right? Like, let's not take other people's rules seriously, and then when they treat us the way they treat everyone who breaks that rule, then we're going to act shocked. Like, oh my God, you're going to put me in prison for 40 years? Why? All I did was have one vape pen full of weed, because that's the penalty for that. Like, that's what it is. If you don't want to pay the penalty, don't do the crime, you idiot. The end. Like, I don't know. But see, I like this. I like that this story, and then the next one we're doing, which is kind of like a Ken, but also like a situation. Okay. And this is going to be a new type of, so you need to like move me down somehow. I don't know, because we didn't actually check this screen. But anyway, so this is going to be like a new kind of thing we do, where it's sort of like it is a Karen or a Ken, that type of situation, or Keisha, or a Pookie, whatever it is, right? But it's more about analyzing and assessing the situation. Is who really is wrong, why are they wrong, whatever, right? So it's not just going to be as simple, straightforward as, oh, it's a Ken, or oh, it's a Karen. But I like this because we just watched a woman, right, in Black culture go to another culture, and then she got arrested for it, right? And they're trying to say, well, all she did was raise her voice. That was it. Like, she didn't say or do anything wrong. She just raised her voice. And we all know, well, okay, I don't know. I won't speak for everyone. I'll speak for myself. I know that the worst, most disrespectful customer service I've gotten has been for Black women. Let's keep it a buck, okay? Black women's tongues are sharp. Now, and I'm going to keep it a buck. So that is not me caping for the next guy that we're about to watch here, okay? Because he's wrong. He's dead ass wrong. The way he's behaving is disturbing. We keep telling people to go outside and touch grass, okay? But we forget to tell them that when they go outside to touch the grass, they should not take the internet with them, okay? Because all those life lessons you've learned in the manosphere about how to behave and react and whatever, how women should act, and then what you should do for women doesn't do this and that, whatever, that doesn't apply in real life. So let's take a look. Okay. Now, this is one of the women, part of this group of women, okay? And our Ken, it's not really Pookie or like a Ray. Maybe he's an educated lame. I don't know. I don't know what terminology we would have for him. But anyway, I guess he tried to speak to these women, and because he was being nice, he expected a particular result, and he didn't get that result. So then he's been following them and stalking them and losing his mind. Let's take a listen.
Yo, weird. What's wrong with you? You don't want anybody to say anything complimenting wise, don't put it on. It's fucking weird.
So y'all hear what he say? If y'all don't want anyone to say anything complimenting wise, then don't put it on. So right there, it's already telling you, right? Women's existence is for him. That's the way he sees it. So if you don't want man to compliment you on your figure, on your shape, on your boobs, on whatever it is, then don't wear something that compliments you. So basically wear a trash bag, or just don't go outside. Okay.
Wear a fucking bathrobe.
See?
Dumbass bitch. What the fuck are you talking about? Nigga, don't look at me like that. Respect your place. You guys are women. I put all you guys in my trunk and everybody will look at you on forensic files the next day. Get the fuck out of here. Have some
Did y'all hear what he said? Y'all are women, have some respect. I will put
respect for men. Get the fuck out of here. I'm giving you a compliment. You can't even take it. Fucking disrespectful ass bitches, man. You think I care about, man? You think I care about you, motherfuckers?
Yes.
Stop playing.
Deeply.
You don't talk about your own. Well, give me a compliment. You can't even take it. Stay right here. Everybody on the phone, like, yo, he's my brother. He's my brother. He's my brother. Get the fuck out of here. This is what you deal with in 2023. You know? My grandma was better than these bitches. Trump.
It's okay.
Uh-oh. What is going on? Well, while we try to figure out the buffering situation, right? Let us think about what he just said. And you hear a lot of this, and this is where I said, I'm like, no, it's clearly coming from the internet, right? It's clearly coming from the internet. He has a case of internetitis where he has spent way too much time in the manosphere. And the manosphere has told him about women and what you need to do. Look at these women, these modern women, this, these modern women, that, women, right? So that's what he's doing. And so he's like, well, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be respectful. And I'm going to say it really nicely that, girl, that booty of yours, boy, I want to smack that ass up, or whatever he said, right? That he thought was just super complimenting and that she should love more than life itself. And when she didn't love it more than life itself, he was shocked and disturbed. How dare you not love his compliment? And see, that to me is the wildest part of all, is that that's what they're being taught, right? They're being taught that women have no right but to love whatever it is that a man gives them. And if she doesn't, well, then this is a modern women this, modern women that, modern women da. Like to the point where he can't control himself. Okay. We are going to try over here. We should get at least another 2 seconds. Let's see what happens. I don't know. I have no idea. Listen, the internet's not working with us today. It's not my fault. It's just not. Oh, wait, no. We're not even going to do that. No? Dude, what is with the internet today? Listen, Ruby is too sick for this foolishness. I don't even understand. What is the problem? Oh, wait. Huh. Got it.
It's okay. Hella crazy.
And all you men out here not saying shit and just letting him talk is crazy.
Say hello and say hi. They want to act like I'm being disrespectful. But when I get out of pocket, now I'm the problem. It's weird. It's weird. When you go to 7 o'clock news, it's like, oh, well, that's why, because you cheat motherfuckers like you stupid. Like, all I did is be nice to you. That's how you act? So motherfuckers be nice?
This is nice?
Yo, don't point.
Why are you yelling?
All I said was nice. All I said.
Stop talking to him right now.
Tell me what to fucking do.
Yo,
Why you
stop talking to him until later.
I'm not talking.
Yo, I like this one. She's got some composure. Like, don't look at it. Don't talk to him. Let him talk.
You can say,
Yeah.
Nigga, I don't give a fuck if you put it on. Yo, listen.
Oh, good, man. Y'all's gonna come up in this conversation. That's good, because we got a lot of material between these 2 stories and the one coming up. We got a lot of material here.
Look, I don't know that. I don't give a fuck what Paul. It's not about that. Yo, listen, man. Listen. Nobody even. Nobody talking to me. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't give a fuck. I didn't know it was a girl. What the fuck does it matter? Yo.
And do you hear what he said? Right. So she's saying, like, yo, why is no one stepping up? Right. So is this part of our culture again where we just allow this type of behavior to go on? Right. But then some man did step up. Now he said that something about one of these women is his girl. And what did the guy say? I didn't know it was your girl, but who cares? What does that matter? So it doesn't matter if she has a man. She should still praise you for sexualizing her body while she was just out with her man. Like that again, is this normal? Is this normal behavior? I don't know. Let's keep going.
Why are you taking her word? Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? Yo, you on some bitch shit, nigga. Fuck out of here. Yo, listen. I was talking like all I said was
Look at you. Look at you. Dumbass bitch.
Now, I love that she does this tirade. I love she does it. You know why? Because this is the moment where you start to see, listen, okay? This is a little bit more even keeled than the rant might have made you think. Okay? Let's take a listen.
Personally, if it was me, I wouldn't be talking anything if I had a warrant.
He literally did this to himself. We asked him to walk away so many times. He followed us back up because the line was way back here. We walked past him and he came back up to continue going at us. And the only reason he redirected his energy is when they came. But it was like walking behind us, getting himself more hyped. His ass going on TikTok.
Now, you could say, Ruby, that didn't prove that. Really? But remember, she told everyone not to respond. Don't you say a word and whatever. Until the police were there. And then she started saying, not quietly, oh, calling him a bitch and this and that and whatever, right? Like, it lets you know that before that camera turned on, more than just a no thank you happened. Now, I don't know, right? However they responded is no right to, he doesn't have a right to their body or to their nice behavior or whatever it is. And it's strange in the 2023 that you think you have a right to women or their bodies or their attitudes or their responses or their pleasantries, right? You don't have a right to women. Okay, we're individuals. But a lot of times, are women in our culture specifically unnecessary with it? Are we unnecessarily disrespectful? Are we unnecessarily rude? Are we unnecessarily mean and cruel with it? When we could have said a no thank you or just a thanks and keep it pushing, but we gonna screw facing who the hell you think you are and want to go off, right? Now, again, is this a cultural thing? Is this just like the way it is in modern times, right? I mean, that's why I said, you know, I think that this would be a really good, because normally I'd be like, oh, this is like a Ken, this is incel, whatever. And, you know, but the way that she went on, she wants to silence her friend, whatever. Why? Because what is she going to do? She's going to put it on TikTok, and she knew it. She said it. Oh, no, I'm putting on this on TikTok. Right? She's going to become TikTok famous, right? And so whatever they said at first to instigate, right? And to propel things forward and whatever. Now shut up, everyone. I don't want anybody to say one thing wrong in this video because I'm going to put it on and we're going to be innocent. And we're going to expose another one, right? This is the culture that we have between our men and our women, right? Like we basically low-key hate each other. I don't know. What do you think, Sel? Because that's what it seems like to me. It almost seems like we hate each other. It seems like the men hate the women hate the men. We just have nothing but disrespect and disdain for one another. You know, we can't show just a modicum of respect or kindness. Like, I mean, because I do think he was saying some stuff that was valid, right? I do think it's a little bit valid to say, like, someone's paying you a compliment. You could just say thanks. Like, what's wrong with just saying thanks? You're really beautiful. Thank you. Oh man, your figure's nice. Thank you. You don't have to preemptively start cutting them into shreds. And I understand why women do that though, because women are afraid of being called, you know, teases, right? He's leading you on, and whatever, because women get accused of that, right? So, I mean, a lot of our negative behaviors, whether we're talking about men or women, are reactions. We're reacting and trying to protect ourselves, I think. I don't know. What do you think, Zal?
This goes into my little tirade I'm going over, but I'll give you a little bit. Some of it, a lot of it, it's like weird trauma bonding thing that we all have, that we start insulating ourselves into like certain cultures. But as I stated earlier, it's certain rules you do when you don't know where you're going. For instance, if you in the street in the hood that you don't know where you go, you be like, I'm not from around here, I'm just visiting, and then just keep your head down, keep walking. Just say thank you and keep walking. If you go on, just keep walking and be like, hey, thank you, and then keep going. If you have a tirade after that and you keep walking, you just like a maniac. Like, oh, she's nowhere near him, and this dude got a serious issue. But then you also got viral culture because you know, oh, this is my moment. This is my moment to get famous. I'm gonna be on TikTok. I'm gonna be on YouTube. It's gonna be my giant moment. I feel like that infiltrates the culture. So you got like multiple things going on that I'm gonna get into after this. That like infiltrating culture and everything. Because again, that's how you get on. If you give somebody that don't have anything something, and they see how to get it, they gonna emulate that to get it.
That's true.
If I go viral doing this, I can make some money doing this instead of working my regular job as a waitress. I'm gonna do it. If I see certain acts getting people paid out there in rap or TV, I'm gonna do it. Like, listen, I'm on, even if I would be kind of normal, no, I'm exacerbated. And we're going to have some examples of that too. So we're going to talk about that. And then I'm also going to talk about the good, because we're going to talk about, is black culture degenerate? But yeah, this situation could have de-escalated. I feel like people don't like to de-escalate situations the more we're not taught to, because it's more viral to escalate something. More viral to make something bigger. And by the way, that's not excusing him. I'm just saying he's gonna act like that. If he didn't act like that at all, it wouldn't be no need to be viral. If you be like, okay, even if he did the stupid thing that the hood dudes do because they don't know like stupid, walk off, she still wouldn't have nothing. She wouldn't have stood there. He was stupid and then walk off. He'll just have his little misogynist moment and be upset that she didn't give him no attention, then walk off hurt like a puppy. They call her stupid to his friend. And that's it in the situation. But my guy went on to some crazy tirade for no reason with the most anger. Shout out to Unique with Bruno Mars in the background is crazy.
But see now on one side, and I agree with you on the point that it's dangerous. Women, there's a reason why women are the way they are, because it can be very dangerous to all a man know. Because you tell a man no, and he hears you saying every insult he's ever heard his whole life, even though all you said is no, right? And this is why women try to be standoffish and evil from jump before you would even open your mouth to speak to them. They are literally trying to give you repellent with their body language and their attitude from jump to hopefully keep you away from them. So that way they don't have to deal with telling you no. Right. And we've seen countless videos of dudes just getting a no and then wanting to push. And then so the women got to push back, and then they go to their car and get a gun. Right. So it's not like you don't see that. Right. 100% agree. But a lot of women also punish every man out there because of some man who didn't just take no for an answer. Right. And so to be disrespected when you're just trying to do something kind or sweet or compassionate, or just give a compliment, you were just going to give a compliment and keep pushing or whatever it is. Right. And you're going to get wholly reamed out or disrespected or clowned or whatever. And on the woman's side, we'd be like, oh, well, she's trying to defend herself because and it's preemptive. And yeah, but you know what? That man didn't do it to you. So you're disrespecting him for what reason? He didn't. And you have to think about how much guts it takes to approach somebody that you don't know in a group to try to give them a compliment, period, right? So, to be unnecessarily unkind and disrespectful and harsh with it, to me, it's always just been one of those things where I feel a way if someone's going to tell women, you must smile at me, like, excuse you? Yeah, no, I literally got into a fight over that.
You got hit with that. You got that, girl. You too pretty. You got to smile at people.
Bro, someone told me that on the day it was my birthday. But it was also the day, basically on the day of my grandmother's birthday, because we're born me and my grandmother were born 6 days apart, 5 days apart. That's the day that they found my stepmother, my sister's mother, dead, and then the funeral was on my birthday, and so this was that day. The day of the funeral. So I'm watching my 12-year-old sister. I just saw this woman, everything was terrible. and then someone's telling me about I should smile. You couldn't possibly be talking to me. And I knew the dude too. I was like, who? Bro, like it was bad because I was gonna fight him. I was gonna really fight, like break a beer bottle. Let's go. I was gonna fight him, and my man decided he's gonna fight him. And I'm like, yo, move, man, because I want to hurt him or have him hurt me. But either way, like I'm ready to fight over this. So my point is, right, is I understand that. I understand, like, yo, it's weird how men feel like this, like they own women, like women should exist for their entertainment, right? But like, ladies, it's not that hard to just say thank you and keep it pushing. It's not. It's honestly not. In fact, I've never had men like try to do something terrible to me just for me saying thanks and clearly turn my back, keep walking. Like, because there's a way of you being pleasant, but your pleasantness also clearly has a wall up. There's a way to do that, right? And it's like, I think sometimes we need to give some training to women about how to be polite, right? But give a no without the disrespect. I don't know. And I do think that disrespect thing, though, is very heavily part of our culture. I do. And, if you say disrespect is part of degeneracy, then I don't know. I think we're starting off the conversation here. And I'm saying, yeah, I think so. Maybe, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Listen, my thing is, I know people gonna respond to Ruby like, why should I have to do that? Listen, I just gave you a reason if you go into a neighborhood to put your head down and say, I'm just walking through. Why should I have to do that? Why should I have to watch what color shirt I wear?
Mm-hmm.
Life is harsh, my God. like I got this red hat. Certain neighborhoods I should not go in with a red hat on. I'm just saying. Even in Spider-Man,
Right.
they be like, why you ain't got the black Spider-Man on? What's wrong with you? You came to my block with that. Listen, you gotta be careful everywhere you go. You gotta learn this and know where you at. You gotta understand where you at, because everybody don't play by your rules.
Right.
Just say everybody don't play by your rules. Be as safe as you can. And I'm not saying it's always gonna work, because some people crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't care what you do. We gonna do whatever, but you gotta be careful. Like,
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Shaw. I can start a no class.
Yes. No, seriously. That is exactly the kind of training that modern women need. Right? Because it's like we want or know how to, like, we know we need to do things, we need to assert our rights but we don't know how. We definitely don't know how to say no. Like, women do not know how to say no correctly. Like, we don't. So we either just don't say no, become the type of people who just avoid things and run and whatever, or we say no way too aggressively and way too forcefully, and then it gives us so much backlash that we go, see, this is why I hate having to say no, right? So it's like, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Honestly, I think you could sell that, Shar. Like, right there, this might be it. This might be the pension pull-in time. But yeah, let's get into the discussion about degeneracy. We're good with this.
Yeah, we do have a video in which, shout out to Rosalind, she sent a video. Then I got a video which this is based on from Sneako from No Jumper. And then if we have time, we'll have the Sneako, what he thought and his thoughts, because we want to be fair to him. So if we have time, we'll go through his whole little spiel on his rumble or kick or whatever about it, and we'll see what he got to say. If not, I hope this discussion is good. The stream, I'll put the stream right in the chat, so anybody that want it can join. There you go. I'll put in the stream right is in the chat. So we're gonna watch this video. Let me know y'all thoughts. If you want to join. But here we go.
Mm-hmm.
When I said black culture promotes degeneracy, that's something that everybody knows. Like, you listen to any rap music, like Durk. I listen to Lil Durk all the time. He's rapping about murder all the time. He knows that will sell more music. He knows that rap beef and like, I'm gonna kill you, you're gonna kill me. But you're 29 with kids, still talking about like killing other people, and you're gonna risk your life over music. Like, everything that hip hop promotes, besides Ye and besides a few like, Christian rap or stuff like that, it's all just drugs, murder, bitches. When a black person becomes more affluent, when they put on a suit, when they get a good job, when they speak correctly, you're speaking white. Yo, why are you talking like a white boy? I'm just speaking English properly. When they talk about keeping black culture black in those affluent areas, they mean they want a doctor who's also sagging. They want a doctor who's still banging and throwing up signs.
I agree that there's a lot of stuff within hip-hop culture that is kind of negative, for sure.
All of it.
All of it. Like, you really put me on the spot here to like think about it objectively.
What
I can't hear you.
Well, he conflated the two. He's talked about hip hop and black culture. Hip hop culture, rather toxic. Even though you do have people, you have Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. He said he doesn't listen to him, but you have those people. Then you do have like a bunch of conscious rapper, and then I think I'm back now, but then you do have the degenerates. You have the King Vons, the Lil Durks. You see, I'm thinking Lil Durk seem to be switching over, so we'll see how that goes. But you have all these different people who is negative. But then shout out to Rosner for this video. Shout out to Rosner. Shout out to Biggie Boss in the chat. But this video also gives a perspective that I want to talk about too. Like again, if you want to join, I will put the link in the chat. So anybody want to join one more time before we get into this discussion. True, Biggie. That is true. That's what you getting out of it. But the one more time, if you want to talk about, the link is in the chat. One more time. I know Mandrell said he's coming, but let's get to it one more time.
If you think you know what happens next, ask yourself why. These are the black stories we've been shown. A narrow view that limits our understanding. But there's so much more to see. Of black life. Let's widen the screen so we can widen our view.
So I do have a question for y'all that I presented that video. That's the end of this video. We're gonna watch the Sneako video later. But that is one of the videos I wanted to show you because I want to know, what did you think was happening when you watched that video? What did y'all think? How'd you feel when you saw the video? Did you feel like they was about to do something? Or were you shocked that it didn't happen that way? Because I think a lot of times we do see something. We see it so much that oftentimes, but I think so oftentimes we see it so much. Shout out to BMT. BMT, the link is in the chat if you want to join. Anybody want to join, I am putting the link back in the chat to talk about, is black culture degenerate? Yeah, shout out, I was holding my breath. Yeah, everybody thought something bad was going to happen. You see something and then you think it's bad, but then it turned out to be a good thing. Again, this is my point I want to get across, because there's a lot of bad and negative that goes into a lot of thought stereotypes and stuff you believe. But a lot of times you don't see some of the beautiful things. You don't see the family reunions. You don't see the father going to see his daughter. You don't see the black guy from the army come back, even though sometimes they don't show it. A lot of stuff you don't get to see. You don't see the black father with his child. It's always something negative. A lot of negative that you see instead of just regular situation. Because again, negativity sells. Mm-hmm. And in our culture, it sells more than other things. You see the happy white family with the picket fence. You don't really, like, you don't see that, especially on TV anymore. Our most popular shows is Power, etc. I'm saying more gang culture. It's based on reality, based on our reality a lot of times in the hood and stuff. But at the same time, Sean said they had to put all the positive in one video. But
No, but you know, here's the thing, right? So, and like when they do implicit bias studies, right? And implicit bias, for people who don't know what that is, implicit bias is biases that you hold, but that you're not aware of, right? So, and they may or may not conflict with what you overtly, right, or openly believe. What they found is that the implicit bias against blackness is held not just by white people or by non-black people, but also by black people. And a lot of that bias has nothing to do with your lived experience, actually. A lot of it has to do with what's on TV, right? And so you might not have really ever seen any abnormal amount of violence or gang violence. You might not have ever seen that in your life as a black person. But because you know every time a black face is in media, that's what you've seen, it primes you to think there's this black face is on TV, whatever. I know what's going to happen. Someone's going to get shot. Someone's going to get stabbed. Someone's going to whatever, right? And it's priming.
That's what
and
they display.
The media has
And
done
that's
this
why I
on
was holding
purpose.
my
They have
breath,
intentionally
that's the
primed
vision
the
they
well
show me
against
when it
black
comes to
people.
television.
wait, Sean, here you go. I'm gonna get this to Ruby so Ruby can hear y'all. I'm sending this up. Can y'all hear each other now?
I heard her a minute ago.
Okay, there we go. Everybody can hear everybody. All right.
I can hear you, Shar. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Beautiful. Well, I wanted to say, Zal, I think maybe.
Again?
Oh, wait, one second. Hold on. So I think what you should do is set it up so that way it shows the person talking on StreamYard. That way they can kind of be full screen if they're talking, and then instead of trying to, put all of the people teeny tiny all at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like it's one of the things. It features whoever's voice is active.
RBR asked, can he come up? And I say no.
Oh Lord, I'm getting out of here. I got to go.
Fuck you, RBR.
Like RBR. RBR's not here, is he? No, he's not.
BMT.
Wait, didn't you talk to RBR recently? Actually, no, we're not even derailing this conversation for that. Hello, BMT. Hello, Shar, and I think someone else was here. So, but yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, baby Ruby.
Good evening, family. How are you doing? Hope you're recovering well from your surgery, BMT.
I am recovering. Yes.
Speedy recovery. Good. Speedy recovery, please.
Yes.
What you were saying, Shaw?
I was singing. Actually, I was going me. No, I was actually.
Of course, you were, birthday girl.
My breath.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was holding my breath because when I'm watching something, when it comes down to what I see like that, that is what I see. That is what is before me. Whatever it is, even if it starts off as a music video, something's going to pop off. Whatever it is, something's going to pop off. So yes, I was expecting something. And as you mentioned earlier, when you're outside, most times you don't even see things like that. And that is so true.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's sad. It almost makes you like, I don't know, for me, it makes me feel a little bit ick when I make that wrong assumption against my own people. I'm like, oh, God, I hate that I do that. But what else? Like, again, my brain is primed for it. My brain is primed to see if someone tells you someone in the scene's about to get stabbed, right? Your brain automatically, if there's one black person, one white person, and one child, your brain is automatically thinking the black person is going to be doing the stabbing. And it's a messed up thing to think about your own people, but it's like you're just primed for that scene to occur that way. And that's why if they flash a scene to you, even if in the scene it's the white guy holding a knife, your brain will see the black guy holding the knife. It's wild if they just flash it really, really fast. So we've got some work to do about controlling our own narrative and our own image, if we want to change that, because right now,
Well,
I don't even.
it sells.
I think it would take a lot. Yep. Definitely does. Definitely does.
BMT, what do you think?
Yeah.
Is black culture degenerate? BMT.
Oh, maybe he
It is.
had to
Yeah,
step
it
away.
is.
Oh, there he is.
No, I'm right here. So, is black culture is black culture degenerate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It is actually degenerate. Sadly, it because literally it's the marketable tool. And it honestly, when you say, "Oh, I'm doing jazz," you don't have to say, "Well, this is black jazz." You just say it's jazz. If you were to say, "I'm doing cooking, culinary cooking of some neck bone and some turnips and some greens," you don't have to say that's black. Just say it's just some cooking or soul or Cajun cooking. But when they talk about the black side, I know that's very triggering a lot of people here. But I work, and actually, I could put up my resume of work that I do in the area I work at. Um, I see how it gets when certain music, drinking, and certain behavior, or when certain people feel like they're back against a wall. It's well, do you know where I'm from, or I'm this and that, and so the perpetual nature of stereotypes that people hold on to. You know what I'm saying? Like it's looked at or frowned upon as weak. Uh, is frowned upon as weak, like somebody who doesn't speak Ebonics or have a certain type of act or thing. I point blank up here, like when you watch the show Blackish, right? Then that's a good show. The mother's side of the family, how they act. I remember they used to get ridiculed. Y'all think like white people. Not you're just black, but you're mixed. You think like white people. And she was like, "That's crazy," but I'm also your wife, and I'm also part black. And what do you think our children are? But that's how black people see other black people that don't have certain characters or certain actions. Black people are very apprehensive about their own people. Women about women, men about hypersexuality of our women, and androgynous behavior. These are not narratives of things that I cooked up or stuff. These are things that we see full time going on in our society for black people. And to combat that, there are some things that I get is this fight for, well, we got to show the good imagery of black people. Well, I mean, just be be good marginal people. Don't take the victim narrative. Now, again, I'm not gonna lie, and I've been in stores where a group of boys have come to the store, and I give them that benefit of a doubt. Of hey, like hey, y'all, how y'all doing at X, Y, and Z? You know what I'm saying? I try not to give them that type of marginal stereotype. I do. I try not to, but I also am wary of certain actions that are carried out with the pooh shiesty mask, with the talking points, or wearing your clothes a certain type of way, which that they call that swag. You know what I'm saying? Like those types of things are fit certain narratives that we keep attaching ourselves to that are pretty much keeping us back in certain narrative. So it is what it is. I get what Ruby made a valid point. I wish somebody else would actually have pinged on that. But a lot of that stuff from shows, movies, behavior, music, and stuff, we pride ourselves on the worth and lower class behavior that literally is what holds back a lot of black communities or society. So yeah, I hope I wasn't too long winded with that. That's that habit I picked up from Ruby.
Ha 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 ha. Love you too.
You too.
Who else is back? I know I saw someone else pop up. Who else
Vonda's
was
here.
here?
Vonda.
Oh, Vonda, what's up, girl?
Hey, Ruby. Hey, Zell.
Hey, Vonda.
Hey, BM. How's everybody
Hey, girl,
doing?
hey.
Is Shar still up here? Hey, Shar.
Shar dropped.
What's up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
the question is Black culture degenerate? And for me, it's not cut and dry like that. For me, Black culture is American culture. The average Black person who lives in America is, FBA, ADOS, are of, slavery culture, of American chattel slavery. There are some degenerate parts of Black culture, and I'm going to say it's rap. Rap is a huge, part of
Whoa.
culture.
Whoa.
And I think rap has turned into a very, very degenerate, outlet. But Black culture is also basketball. Black culture is also football. Is football degenerate? Is basketball degenerate? All the music is not degenerate. R&B is not degenerate. So I just think that, even in Black culture, you just like you played that clip where, you had the pregnant woman walking with her baby. You had the kids going into the store. Black people live an average everyday life just like everybody else. Depending on where you live, there could be some bad stuff that's going to happen. Does every Black person live in quote unquote the hood or the ghetto? No, they do not. That's just what it is. I don't live in a hood and I don't live in a ghetto.
Right.
But so my experience would be different from someone who did live in that type of environment. So no, I'm not going to say just a blanket statement that, Black culture is degenerate. I'm a Black person and I'm part of the culture because I'm here. I don't want anyone looking at me and saying, "Oh my God, she's one of those video girls." No, that's not me. I don't do that. That's just like, if you're looking at, like rock and roll, is every, white woman a rock and roll chick? Absolutely freaking not. And every Black woman is not a video vixen. So I think sometimes we get caught up and we get so judged on just the negative parts, of our culture. And it's not us. Rap is not the whole culture. I'm sorry, I am not rap. And rap has evolved from what it was when it started in the 70s versus what it is now. In my opinion, I think it's pure trash. It absolutely is, but that's my opinion. It's very popular, it's very mainstream, everybody's doing it. And just like the guy said in the clip, everything is about, everything negative that you could possibly think of. There is no positive rap. And back in my day, there used to be positive rap. There used to be what they call conscious rappers. There's none of that anymore. So the culture of rap, is it degenerate? It sure is. I absolutely agree with that. But for me to say that all Black culture is degenerate, no, I don't own that. And I'm going to land my plane right there.
I actually agree. I don't think
mic drop.
I don't think Black culture is degenerate. I think certain aspects are very much degenerate. I think we expound on those. I think a lot of people embrace those. I think mainstream embrace those. I think white culture for sure embrace those. You go anywhere near any of the most toxic rappers, white culture is actually the one who promotes them 95%. Even though, let's be honest, white people promote most of rap anyway, most of music. But again, they the ones who promote it and spend their dollars on it and do everything. They like the little Uzis. They like the any rapper they can find. All the new rappers, they like them all. They like the little Durks. They like the King Vons. They like to go on the internet and wear a little egg post and say what King Von did. And so you got that aspect of the culture. But like I said, people don't see online. You used to have them. They used to try to mitigate it a little bit. for instance, when you randomly hear, like, you saw the certain TV shows like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and everything, like, oh, this is a man who made it, and look how he actually raised his nephew and his son as they go through this tough situation when his dad didn't want him, and they had that powerful scene that a lot of black men go through, that one of the most popular scenes on the internet or in TV history. You actively see it. Why my dad don't want me, and then the uncle, a man, hugged him and like, I got you, nephew, basically. You don't have to worry about him. And you had that powerful scene you used to have to mitigate. Now you don't even see it mitigated at all, hardly. BMT did bring up one that does mitigate it. Blackish. Shout out to BMT for that. But you do have those situations, I think, where we don't show. I don't know what happened. Okay. But like I said, you do have those situations in which you do have to acknowledge that there are issues and that the popularity in which we present ourselves is an issue. And that's where you get the money at, right? The white people pay you to act like that, right? They pay you to go out there and shoot your gun, and then oh, you a gangster rapper now, and then that's that way get on. So I like.
Well,
so
see, and that's. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm trying really hard not to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. You
go.
Okay, great.
Go ahead.
So
go
here's
ahead.
I'm ready for mine. I didn't get to give my answer. I want to give my answer. But here's okay. So the first thing I want to do is define degenerate. Okay. So having lost the physical, mental, or moral qualities considered normal and desirable. Okay, i.e. showing evidence of a decline. 2, lacking some property, order, or distinctness of structure previously or usually present, immoral or corrupt, decline or deteriorate physically, mentally, or morally. As an adjective, if you describe a person or the behavior as degenerate, you disapprove of them because you think they have low standards of behavior or morality. Right? Now, in almost all of these definitions, right, they're talking about low standards or this standard, that standard, but standard in comparison to what, right? And when we're talking about Black culture, right, when I think about a degenerate, and so if I was to say Black culture be degenerate, it would be because I would say that they have standards like baked into the culture, standards of behavior or morality that are lower than what? Let's say the average, right? So the average culture says killing people, R-wording people, being horribly violent or abusive to people, terrible, don't do it, right? That's the average culture, right? So would I say Black culture is lower than that on average? No. Right. I think that we're okay with using words that don't actually describe Black culture, but certainly disrespect and denigrate Black people. And we're very okay using these types of words to describe all Black people and Black culture, anything related to Blackness, even though it's not valid and it's not true. Because the truth is, right, what is our standard of behavior? And how is, say, well, Black people like to twerk? Oh, well, that standard of behavior is just so below what? Below what exactly? Because pretty much every culture has, except unless these like it's uber like white Christianity, they don't really have like rhythm or dancing skills or beats.
See how you negatively attacking people now?
No, it just literally comes down to, again, because except for white Christianity.
This Negro can't help attack. Negro can't help attack people. Go ahead.
No, because it's just white Christianity. Because every other culture besides white, white, not Euro Christianity, white Christianity that intentionally rejects rhythm and dancing and whatever as sinful, right? And I'm talking about the fundamentalists in America, right? With the exception of them. Pretty much every other culture worldwide has some version of dancing that is very akin to twerking, okay? And I'm not just talking about Black cultures around the world. I'm talking about white cultures also, right? But we will allow people to use twerking as something to look at Black people in America and say, no, they're degenerates because they twerk. Wait, what? The entire world, belly dancing, reggae, we got the wine, right? Like, all around the world, everyone has dances that involve you moving your waist and your hips, and that same way that could be suggestive, right? Everyone else, but no, we don't call belly dancers over there and whatever. We don't call them degenerates. We're not calling Pakistani women who are sitting there doing their Indian dance, right? We're not calling them degenerates. We're not calling Indian women in Bollywood. We're not calling them degenerates. We're doing very similar dances, right? But when Black women do it, see, look, they're just a bunch of degenerates. As in, we intentionally take things that Black people do that everyone else does too, and we other them, and then we use it to basically say, no, it's different when Black people do it, and it's proof that they're a lower life form. And we allow that to happen, and we allow this narrative against us to happen, whether it talks about our music, our movement, our food, our behavior, our whatever, or then we say, hey, things that we are naturally into, like we're naturally into rhythm and movement and music and whatever, right? And that's how we communicate. It's how we study also, right? Well, because we're like that, right? We say that that's lesser than a culture that's very quiet and doesn't engage in a lot of noise and dancing. But why is it lesser? Why is what's our norm, something that we like to do? Why is that lesser just because we like to do that and someone else doesn't? Right? Like, why are we the lesser thing? Right? We're allowing these narratives to happen about Black culture, even though they're not valid. Sorry, go ahead.
Well,
let me ask you.
Eastern Europeans said that's definitely not true. So I don't know what the Balkans they do in the Balkan states over there.
What's not?
Thank you. I would like to ask a question.
All Western.
So when the Negroes at church and wearing them dresses and dancing and shaking, what does that have to do with Jesus? When you shaking and provocatively doing all kind of enticing dances in the Lord's church, how was that not degenerate behavior? Because ain't nothing in the Bible say
what does flirty fishing have to do with Jesus?
Hold on. You go ahead.
It's the same thing. What does flirty fishing have to do with Jesus? See, what we do is we try to find anything at all we can point. Do you know what flirty fishing is? No? See, of course not, because you don't study all the ways that white culture is equally or more so degenerate. Right, because again, if we're using, look it up. If we're using, remember, the whole thing is, right, what is degenerate? Degenerate means a lower standard than, right? So if everyone else in the same culture is behaving, has a sect of them that's behaving in the same way or ignorant in comparison to the rest of the Western world, as Biggie said, actually. And that's literally what my point is. My point is that we allow ourselves to be called degenerate, even though there's literally no evidence. And a whole lot of evidence to the contrary that says, hey, listen, we're just as degenerate as everyone else, which means it's not degenerate, it's normal behavior. Are you serious? It's a sect of Christianity. No, literally, flirty fishing. Do you know how many different so-called cults? Do you know what a cult is? I don't think people understand that before these cults are cults, guess what they are?
I know what a cult is.
Right. So, but do you understand that before they're a cult or a religion?
I'm pretty sure I know what they are.
But, right. So then you do know that before a cult is a cult, right? It's often a religion, or another practice. And what ends up happening is eventually someone takes over leadership of that group, right? So for example, Warren Jeffs, right, took over the fundamentalist Christians, right? Now the fundamentalists in Utah right now, to this day, they just released a documentary about it, because the fundamentalists are all saying, hey, listen, Warren Jeffs came in here and for 6 years, it was a travesty. Y'all are right. Some people won't even admit that, but just generally they're saying, hey, listen, our religion is not a cult. Our religion is not about abusing children. Our religion is not whatever, Warren just came in here and he did a lot of travesty crap for 6 years, but we've been around for 100 years. Why is everyone trying to define us by what Warren Jeffs did wrong, right? Rulon Jeffs is the one who started this, not Warren. See, what people don't realize, right, is that a lot of the behaviors that happen in a small period of time that we study, and I know because I've taken several courses studying cults, right? There's a small period of time where it's cult behavior, right? With really demented things going on. But the rest of the time, that was just a religion. right? And so there's a lot of religions that have 100% okayed people being sexually suggestive or even actively having sex with people who are outsiders to bring them into the fold. Are you
Okay,
serious?
so
And
let
I
me
mean,
ask you this. So you're saying, right? Because we already understand that there's a big issue with African American or just black women being hypersexually abused. Can we agree on that? Can we agree on that one? Right? There's a big issue with that. So
no, I'm sorry, hold on. No, hold
if
on.
we're-
You need to clarify what you're saying, because hypersexually abused, I don't understand what you mean by that.
Okay. So what we mean by that is that they have documentation, whether it be at churches, be in certain organizations, right, where African American women have been led into and been abused. Like we can use Aretha Franklin, or you can use mind you, she was impregnated multiple times at a church function, or we can use Pastor Eddie Long with those boys hypersexually abused. Church didn't do nothing. Or we can use different things in Hollywood or different other areas where black people have been hypersexually abused, Mendigo, or breeding tools, or the curse word motherfucker. So we understand that there's a hypersexuality that goes on in the culture. Now, I guess you're saying that, hey, other cultures do it, but how it drastically has impacted the black diaspora is way, way vastly different. It's almost as it's thrown it off. So when I'm asking about, hey, about the church where I will see a woman, like mind you, I grew up a time, right, in an evangelical time where if you came in to the building a certain type of way, they kind of covered you up. Now that is looked at as, hey, that's fine. She can go ahead and do whatever she wants, dance, shake. I think that's called twerking for Jesus. That's a thing now. I didn't know, but hey, that's fine. Now, if you're saying that's okay, but then women are saying, hey, we don't like to be hypersexualized. I like to know, when do we start to say, hey, I think this behavior is starting to get out of hand. It's starting to get crazy, because now we're saying that 1 minute. Go ahead. You have the floor.
No, I was just gonna say, because so Marjorie just said in the chat, right? Hypersexuality is found across many, many cultures. The problem is, right, is that and this is why I didn't understand what you meant, so I'm glad that you clarified it, right? But because hypersexuality, right, and being abused are not like synonymous, as in you can be sexually abused without ever being hypersexualized, right? And you can be hypersexualized without ever being sexually abused. These are not synonymous terms. They mean two different things. They can both happen, right? But they don't both have to happen at the same time. So I wanted to clarify that point. Now, here's something that's really important, and this is something that we don't do as Black people, and I understand why we don't do it, because in essence, if we're Black people coming together across a platform like this to discuss Black issues, and we're not spending a lot of time speaking about anyone else's issues and any type of death, nor are we trying to research them, we're just looking at our issues, talking about our issues, because we're trying to solve our issues for our people, for our next generation, right? And so that logically makes sense, right? But now if when you're talking about degeneracy is literally a comparison between your group and another group. In order for you to make an accurate comparison, you actually have to know the different groups. You cannot just use your own basic assumptions because you know a lot about your group and you think you've never really heard much about it, or this or that or whatever about the other group. So that must mean that your group must be worse at this thing or whatever it is. No, you can't use that type of information. So we have to then go by, well, what are the facts? What are the facts here when we're looking at, say, Black church versus white church? What are the facts when we're talking about the Western world as a whole, and then comparing Black culture to the Western world as a whole? Is Black culture degenerate in comparison to the Western world as a whole? It's not. And this is a problem. Again, we allow this narrative to be told about us like it's true. But the fact is that when outsiders hypersexualize or over adultify our children, right, that has nothing to do with our culture. That's their culture. In fact, a lot of things which we don't seem to realize, a lot of those people from the outside world that hypersexualize our children, even are also adultifying our children, right? But they hypersexualize their children, right? But they do it behind closed doors and sell and this. And I mean, it's a travesty what goes on in the Western world, or just really across the world. I'm going to be real. It's a travesty what goes on though, and what has gone on in the Western world. When we did the discussion, BMT, on your channel about cuties, and I said, no, this is a really important movie. It's nothing like they were trying to advertise it was. 99% of that movie had nothing to do with dancing at all. It had to do with what real 12-year-olds, real 9-year-olds, real 8-year-olds are going through in this society. And it's a really important that people start understanding what the hell is happening. But what people don't seem to realize is that children, very small children in swim, in dance, in gymnastics, are not only being sexualized here, are being sexualized like from day one when they're 5, 6, 7, because they have to. If you want to be the best, whatever, you have to do these types of movements. You have to do this. You have to do that, right? Not only are they being sexualized there, but then a lot of them are also being abused by people like Larry Nassar, like people like, oh my God,
kids that I know that are in there, and one of the mothers, the girl's like, oh, put a little snap to your wrist, and the other mother says, why does my child need to do that? Well, it'll work for the judges. So? Excuse me. No, she will not be doing that routine. You can tell them what routine you will allow them to do or not. Like that.
Great. And you know what? If you want your kid to win, you don't